Hey guys, welcome back to Electrical Car Repair Live. Thank you guys for watching and subscribing to the channel. Today will be super helpful video guys to any of you having a Kia Sportage, Kia Sorento with the 2.4 GDI engine guys. And if you need to remove or replace Cvvt gear, this is the continuous variable timing gear guys for the intake camshaft or the exhaust camshaft. Stay with us, we'll cover everything from start to finish and how to do that. It will take quite a bit of work because we need to remove valve cover, we need to remove oil pan, timing cover. It's just time consuming, but it's not too complicated. Stay with us and we'll explain guys how to do that today. So this should work on Kia Sportage and Kia Sorento different years. For instance, they start using it in early 2012 all the way to 2016-17 depending on the market guys. That's a 2.4 GDI engine. So before we start, let me introduce you to the channel. Every single car we get at the garage guys, we take them completely apart and we make at least 200 to 300 free repair videos. Why we do all that? Simply because our mission in the shop is to save you as much money as we can. All we need in return, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, that way we can keep providing this free information to you. Also guys, if you want to buy parts or tools for a really good price and quick shipping as well, check out the link in the description of the video below and you can see where we get all our tools and parts from. Specifically, this is an engine out of a 2013 Kia that we'll be demonstrating on. And with that being said, okay, if you have a Kia guys or other vehicle, check our main channel Auto Repair guys. We have videos that have helped more than 120 million people guys, that can save you thousands of dollars. So let's start on it now. So this right here guys is a 2.4 GDI engine. We have it out of the vehicle with the cooling system, everything the way it comes from the vehicle, so we can clearly show with great detail okay what we're going to do, and we'll be having videos about rebuilding that engine and fixing almost anything on it. For any of you that ask me guys in the comment section below, recently we've been getting quite a bit of response comments to what do we recommend for diagnostics on these modern vehicles. That's the one that we use daily guys. It works on Kia and almost any car you can think of. Okay, let me just exit and I will show you right here. It's amazing too, that can pay itself off in one-time use. Check out the link in the description of the video below if you want to check the current price and the functions. Number one, we need to remove the upper engine cover. Grab and pull it out. It attaches okay to these 4 posts right here. What do you need to do next guys, okay, in order to remove the upper valve cover? You will need to disconnect your car battery. Let's explain why. Because you'll be dealing with the fuel pump here as well. You need to remove the high pressure fuel pump. So disconnecting the car battery can reduce the risk of catching your vehicle on fire. Also work on the engine when it's completely cold. On these modern cars, it matters which battery terminal you disconnect and reconnect first. If you do it wrong, you can cause damage to the engine computer and the electrical system. So if you don't know which battery terminal to disconnect first, we have a special video that explains that and we'll put the link in the description of the video below. Once you do that, okay, we're going to disconnect the vacuum hose coming out of the valve cover, okay, right here. Perfect. Another one, okay, that we have, okay, we need to disconnect the PCV hose right here. Great. Next, you have the fuel line right here, the low pressure fuel line. If you don't know how to disconnect it, we have a special video that explains that on World Mechanics, how to disconnect fuel line. For the high pressure fuel line, 3/4 inch wrench, you'll be under pressure. Always wear gloves and eye protection. Why we don't ask guys, but you should. Okay, disconnect that. Okay, you disconnect that fuel volume sensor right here. Okay, great, just like that. And what you need to do now, okay, 10mm socket, and we need to slowly remove the pump a little bit on each side. You grab that fuel pump and it comes out. I recommend to inspect your tappet right here, the cam follower, because that's a weak spot on those sometimes and that can develop an engine noise and rattle as well. So we'll get it out, okay, to inspect it later. Next, we need to disconnect that wiring harness that goes to the exhaust variable timing solenoid. We need to disconnect the wiring harness from the upper valve cover. Okay, perfect, like that. What we need to do next, we need to remove the ignition coils so that those gray things, okay, check this thing out, you need to pull them all the way to the back, then you press in the middle, okay, and you disconnect it. So we do that to all 4 ignition coils guys. Okay, so 10mm socket, we're going to disconnect that wiring harness that goes to the high pressure fuel pump. So that's what we're doing now. Okay, great. What else, guys? Now, this one, we can flip it, okay, on the side, so it's out of the way. At that point, okay, we need to remove the ignition coils. 10mm socket, just remove the bolt on each ignition coil. 4 bolts, 4 ignition coils. Or the other way around. 4 ignition coils, 4 bolts. Then you can just simply grab the ignition coil, okay, and pull them out. At that point, most of the final work is done. Now we need to remove, I think, 22 bolts, quite a few bolts, guys, for the valve cover. So we're going to start, okay, with the ones in the middle. Let's start here. Okay, you have bolts that some people easily forget, and one of them is hard to miss. This side right there. Okay, here this one, and we go to the outside. So now we're just removing all of the bolts. Make sure you don't drop anything in the high pressure fuel pump holder, because you'll go directly in the camshaft and that can cause engine damage. And careful not to drop your bolts too. Alright, you grab each one of the bolts, easily remove them, because if they fall you can easily lose them as well. We have 2 more for the fuel pump right here that we need to remove. Okay, and this one too. Now we have 2 more that we need to remove right here. Perfect. Now you will leak some oil out, be prepared. Ours been sitting for a while, so we won't have so much engine oil up here. Need to pull a little bit of room, okay, to get it out gently. Okay. Okay, perfect. This is, guys, the valve cover gasket. That's what the engine looks like as well. In order to remove the crankshaft pulley, guys, okay, there is a special tool that most people recommend to use, okay, because without it, okay, you can have a really hard time, okay, removing that pulley. And let me explain, okay, what the tool looks like. You will need to remove your intake manifold, remove the engine starter. We have the special video on the channel how to remove intake manifold and engine starter. Check it out if you need help with that. And then you have that special tool that goes where the engine starter is, okay, and it holds the flywheel so it doesn't move. The other tool, guys, that you can use, okay, it can go on the flywheel from underneath the oil pan, that you can use it as well. If you don't have any of those tools, I will not recommend to do the job, but what we use here, and again, don't need to do it, guys, okay, with the belt still installed, we get an air impact, okay, and with the compressor, you just are going to take it loose. Now, you will not be able to torque it correctly later, so I'll recommend still to get the tool, but we've done it multiple times with the impact. We haven't had a problem, but doesn't mean that you will not have one. So we pre-loosen ours already. Now that's the tensioner. We can go ahead, remove the belt, and once we remove the belt, we can continue with the next step to remove that that pulley right here. Okay, perfect, just like that. So let's go ahead, okay, get this one loose. It should be just almost like hand tight. The impact got it loose, so now we're going to go ahead, okay, and get it loose with a little impact now. Yeah, right there, and it came out. Now your timing chain will not skip or anything like that. It's not like one of those Mazda 4 designs where with the moment you take this one off, the timing is completely done, okay, and you should definitely follow timing procedures. No, this one is not, because that's a keyed pulley and you have key timing chain components you can see on the back side, okay, right there. So that's how we remove the pulley. Now next for the timing cover, okay, according guys, okay, to our experience and even almost any manual that you can find, you can remove the cover itself, okay, without removing the oil pan, but resealing it, okay, you may have troubles having an oil leak later. So it's recommended to remove the oil pan and then remove the timing cover, because otherwise you can easily, guys, develop oil pan, valve cover leak, timing cover leaks that you will have to redo the work again in the future, and you probably don't want to do that work twice, guys, believe me, because that takes quite a bit of work. So we'll go ahead next step and remove the oil pan. So now for the oil pan, guys, let's explain what we need to do right here. With the engine removed, we can clearly, guys, show you what we need to do. You don't need to remove your AC compressor. We'll need to remove, okay, the bolts right here underneath, the two bolts, okay, that hold the AC compressor, because they mount to this bracket that mounts to the timing cover and the engine block. And that mount will come off, will need to come off, because you have hidden bolts underneath as well. So 12mm socket, and we're going to remove the two bolts for the AC compressor there. Okay, check it out. Perfect, they're out. Now, next step, we have these bolts right here, again with the 12mm socket, big ones that we need to remove. We'll need to get an extension, and that's the one that hold the bracket, okay, you can see, in place. Let's go ahead, do that. Two, so we have, I think we have 4 bolts. Number 3 right there in the middle and 1 on the other side. Oh, almost. Perfect, that's number 4. Now that mount will come off, you can see like that. Later, make sure to stay until the end. We will explain one of the best silicone to reseal it. That black one is terrible, I personally don't like it, and I'll recommend the one that the manufacturers use quite often as well, that gray one. Okay, it's my favorite, it's our favorite. Now guys, here we need to remove, we have actually 2 huge bolts with a 12-point socket, guys, okay. I think it's a 12-point socket, 2 of them, that actually those bolts, guys, they mount all the way in the engine block, and they're quite long. So we'll need to go ahead, remove those. You may start leaking engine oil. Now, we forgot to say, but you need to drain your engine oil before you start working on that. Make sure you don't have engine oil in the oil pan. How you drain the oil, okay, with the engine in the vehicle. Make sure it's cool. Remove the drain plug right here and drain the oil. We already pre-drained ours. That's pretty simple procedure. So again, make sure you drain yours. Then you get a 10mm socket, guys, and you start going all the way around. Okay, and we're going to start removing them, okay, all the bolts now. So let's do that now. We'll explain where every bolt is located, how many bolts you have and all that stuff. Some of those don't come out due to the fact that there is actually silicone sealant, engine sealant. So let me show you where we are. Okay, trying to visualize it now. That's over the transmission side there. Let me see if we can come on this side. Okay, removing these bolts now. Next, okay, let me show you where those are. You can kind of like see those here. On the back side we have the exhaust manifold and everything removed. We missed one right here. I can see it. Now that oil pan may be really stuck depending on the silicone and all that stuff, so ours started coming loose, but if it's really stuck you might get a screwdriver and pry it out once you remove all the bolts. Make sure all the bolts are out, otherwise you can break things. And later if you bend the oil pan, it's metal one, it's fine. You can always straighten it because it's metal pan. Okay, perfect. Now we'll grab ours. We shouldn't have too much oil left, just a little bit. Perfect. And okay, you can see the oil pan came out. Now the correct thing to do, okay, let's get the silicone, the sealant. I'll show you what we use. You need to clean when you're ready to install that oil pan. Clean everything here really good. Make sure all that stuff on the inside come out. Always apply on the inside, okay, and around the bolts a little bit as well. But make sure you have on the inside for sure, and go a little bit around the bolts. Clean the engine block and the timing cover as well. Clean everything with rubbing alcohol and make sure it's not greasy at all. It's super dry, clean, shiny. The oil pan as well, and that's the silicone that we use, the high temp gray silicone. That's amazing, guys. I'll put a link in the description of the video below where you can get it from. We use it on multiple BMW Porsche vehicles for a long time and we haven't had any problems. It holds up to 600 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a gasket maker or dressing as well. So you can see that's how you guys do it. So now the water pump, guys, right here, you need to pre-loosen these 3 bolts before you remove the belt. That's a good idea to watch the video before you do things, so you see what mistakes we make. But if you pre-loosen these 3 bolts with a wrench, when you have the belt, the pulley will not be spinning. Now we have the engine out, so we can clearly use the impact, which makes things way easier than having it in the engine bay, but it's still practically the same procedure. You will need to just get them loose before you remove the belt. Perfect. Now let's start with the headwork pulley, tensioner pulley. We need to remove those as well. We'll need to remove the mount for the engine mount. Now this one is actually this one was reverse threaded, guys, bolt. Okay, right here, that's a reverse threaded bolt. Okay, and let's go ahead, get it loose. Okay, let's see. Okay, perfect. Reverse threaded, just remember that. Great. You need to remove the pulley in order to remove the tensioner, because underneath it you have one 10mm bolt that you cannot get. That's a normal threaded bolt right here, after that. So that's a regular bolt, but when you remove the tensioner, I want to show you one specific place where you should place it once you remove it, guys. Otherwise, okay, if you install it, guys, at the wrong place, later you have problems. The tensioner has one, okay, high spot. Let me focus here quick, right there, and it goes, okay, in that hole, okay, over there. So make sure you place it there later. Let's remove the bracket for the engine mount right here. So 14mm socket here, and we're going to remove 4 bolts. Okay, that's bolt number 4. Perfect. Now, since we have that 14mm socket, we'll keep using it, and oh, those are 12. Those are 12. We need to get a 12 now. And all these bolts, the fat ones, they're with 12. This one you don't need to remove it. I think this one stays like that. We'll check, but we'll see. I think this one stayed. Perfect. Okay, all of them are out. Now 10mm after that, we're going to switch to 10mm. And there is one trick to removing that timing cover. Many people will break it, and we'll explain why. We used to break 1 or 2 in the past, so we learned that the hard way, and we want to share our experience with you guys. Okay, so looking at it, you have 2 metal guides right here, one over there, one over here. If you get penetrating spray, you can spray them and let them soak. Always try to apply a little bit of pressure where the guides are, okay, and wiggle it. Because if you bend too much, that's aluminum that cracks super easily, guys. Ours came out easy, but you can have so much corrosion, okay, and so much silicone that it can be really stuck. Like this one, it has quite a bit of corrosion, you can see. Clean them good and lubricate them, okay, and wipe them again before we install things together. Every time you remove that timing cover, you need to clean all that silicone, guys. Clean it really good, scrape it really good, and clean it with rubbing alcohol. The same thing you need to do, okay, to the engine block and the cylinder head. You need to clean everywhere really good. And we use the gray silicone, which is amazing. We'll put a link in the description of the video below, guys. Once everything is clean, you're going to apply on the inner side of the bolts, okay, on the inner side of the bolts everywhere, okay, right here on this bolt as well. Don't forget this bolt, okay, and this one bolts, the inner bolts, go around, okay. Everything should be clean, apply, and you're ready to put it on, you can see. But that's how you guys remove the timing cover. If you need to remove timing chain components, remove cylinder head, or if you just need to fix an oil leak on the timing cover. So now what we'll recommend once you get to that point, guys, you remove your spark plugs and you need to bring all your 4 cylinders to be leveled. Okay, cylinder 2 and 3 go together, 1 and 4 go together. So you want to make sure, okay, you're going to put the crankshaft pulley or the bolt and remove the spark plugs, okay, and verify that the cylinders, okay, are in the middle. Okay, this one is up. Let's bring it down. Okay, this one, now cylinder 4 is down. Okay, let's go down. Okay, like that. Okay, perfect. That will give us enough clearance to make sure we don't bend valves, guys. Okay, at that point, now we need to remove the timing chain, guys, okay, in order to replace the Cvvt gears. In my opinion, I would recommend to even replace the timing chain kit, okay, for the oil pump, since we're already here, and do a complete timing chain kit installation. Some of you will just replace that one, and in most cases it's okay. The oil pump timing chain doesn't fail so often, guys. But in order to remove it, you need to remove the oil pump. We have a special video how to do that. Now we need to go ahead and remove the timing chain tensioner, okay, and all the timing chain components for that chain. Perfect. Now we have one more bolt for that timing chain tensioner arm right here, so let's go ahead, do that. Perfect. Now that one should come out. Okay, great. We have this one here that we need to remove. Next. Okay, great. Okay, now that timing chain can come out. Okay, we can just grab and lift it. Check it out now. Okay, it comes just like that, completely out of there, guys. Okay, great. Next, how do you remove the Cvvt gears? Okay, we will recommend, okay, to be very careful now, guys. Okay, there are 2 different ones. Make sure we don't install them the wrong way. We need to get a tool that fits right here now, so I need to get the adjustable wrench, okay, but you can see you have a place where you can hold them. So let's do the exhaust one. We'll show you guys. Okay, I'm going to find a wrench that fits. If you get a long wrench, it will be really good. One person needs to hold here really good, and the other person needs to take them off, guys. Okay, and we need to take the ball off. It will be tight, okay, but it will come off. So 14mm socket on the front, okay, with a long extension arm. Okay, and no, I actually dropped that one, so let's try again. Okay, it came loose, guys. Okay, perfect. Now this one right here, okay, our pistons are down, so we need to turn the crankshaft a little bit to where I can hold it, because I still cannot hold it. So excuse me, camshaft. So let's turn it a little bit more. Okay, okay, 1 second, I'm not good. Okay, go a little bit counterclockwise. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's see now. Okay, let's see now if I can hold it. Yep, perfect. So we were able to do that. Now we have the torque specs. It will be a little bit better if I'm holding with two hands, but I'm trying to balance the camera, guys, hold at the same time. And the Cvvt gears, okay, bolts come out. Those are recommended to be replaced every time you remove them, because they're specific torque bolts. And they're right here, guys. That's what's causing your trouble if you have problems with the variable timing. Hopefully, guys, the video will be helpful to any of you having any of these problems. If you want to see the torque specs, we have a video about the torque specs for a Cvvt gear on a Kia, guys. So check it out, and it will teach you how to do that. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.